YouTube, what is up, man? It is your boy Sneakerheadpat coming to you with another video. Coming at you with a 4K comparison video. I'm comparing the origin story, aka Spider-Man ones from 2018 and the 2015 Chicago ones. I'm just going through the differences. Is it worth it to have both or one versus the other? That is the question here. It's like a pretty big difference as far as resale value goes, but it's pretty much the same damn shoe, man. They're damn near identical. So we're gonna get into the comparison right now. Alright, so side by side, the first thing you notice is the color. So the color on the 2015 Chicago ones, it pops a lot more, man. Like this red is a lot more vibrant. It looks like it has more of a glossy finish to it, and it just stands out a lot more compared to the origin story ones. It just has more of a flat red look. It's a little more dull, and you can even feel like the matte finish on it. Definitely doesn't feel as smooth as the Chicago ones. So yeah, they don't stand out as much, but honestly, from like 10 feet 20 feet back, you really can't tell the difference. They look exactly the same, but these definitely stand out a little more. As far as leather quality, so the Chicago ones, they have more of a full grain smooth leather. I know a lot of people say that the leather on the 2015s is bad, but it really ain't, man. I disagree completely. Like, this leather is some of the softest leather I felt on some of the more recent releases, man. It's actually pretty damn soft. Like, some people feel like if it's not tumbled, then it's not good leather, but that's completely false, man. And even though I know a lot of people like tumbled leather, honestly, this shoe, man, this shoe is so classic. I don't think it would look right with tumbled leather on it. Now, as far as the leather quality on the origin story one, this whole shoe is pretty much tumbled soft leather, man. All of it is real plush, man. You got these thick cuts of leather. The only thing that's not tumbled on here is pretty much the swoosh and then the collar on the back. Other than that, man, everything is pretty damn tumbled, and it's pretty soft too. So even though I don't feel like the Chicago is bad leather, I would give an edge to the origin story ones as far as leather quality. The next thing is details. So details, this is just all original classic details, man. Smooth leather throughout the whole shoe. The swoosh, it's all original, your typical Jordan 1 details. If you look at the origin story one, obviously it has a lot more details to it because the inspiration is the shoe that Miles Morales wore in the movie. It was a pretty good movie also. I did see it. So if you haven't seen it, definitely go check that out. But yeah, you got a lot of details from the Spider-Man movie in the shoe. One of the more noticeable things, you got these dots that go from the back all the way to the front. It kind of got like a 3M look to it. It just kind of depends on how the light hits it. That also really isn't that noticeable from far back. Yeah, so from a certain distance back, you really can't see them. Matter of fact, when I see people wearing these, normally I think they're wearing Chicago's until they get right up on me. But the inspiration behind the dots, I didn't know it at first, but it's actually Spider-Man's suit. If you look real close at his suit, a lot of times you'll see these same dots in his suit, and you'll also see these dots on like the cover of the comic books. So I'll throw up some pictures just so you can see what I'm talking about. Some other details in this shoe. If you look at the swoosh, you can see these. You can see like this hexagon pattern. Like the hexagons are like real tiny, and they're on the swoosh. And then you can also see like a shiny black leather outline on the swoosh. That same hexagon pattern is also on the back collar. And this material on the back collar and on the swoosh, it's like a vinyl material. And that also is inspired by Spider-Man's suit. If you look real close to a suit, you'll also see that small hexagon pattern in there. And yeah, that's pretty much the inspiration behind that. Another big difference in the details is the outsole. So on the Chicago's, you got the original varsity red on the bottom, and then the origin story has that clear outsole. The last real major detail is the tongue. So on the origin story one, you got that photo blue with the red Nike Air, as opposed to the red tag with the white Nike Air on there, and really not that noticeable. And then the insole, you got a photo blue insole, red Nike Air, versus a white insole with the black Nike Air. And that's it as far as details go, man. They both have their own pros and cons. The Chicago is a classic shoe. It's an iconic shoe. Everybody knows what the Chicago is, man. You can't go wrong with it. There will always be a Chicago retro coming. So, matter of fact, they even rumored to retro in 2020. So that's just next year. So you'll never really be able to justify paying that much for something that's coming out again eventually. As far as the origin story ones, the good thing about having these is that you probably will never see a release again. It's most likely a one-time thing. Anytime you got a collab, they typically don't re-release them, man. So you'll probably never see this shoe again. The only con to this shoe, I would say, is the icy sole. That icy sole is going to yellow eventually, and I'm not sure how it's going to look yellowed, but my guess is it won't look too good. You can always ice it, but once it goes from blue to clear to yellow, it'll never quite be the same. Which one would you go with? If you're not big on like OGs, if you're not big on the shoes MJ wore, like if you just like the look of the Chicago and nothing more, then I would go with this one, man. These will probably never release again. It's close enough to the Chicago that most people, 99% of the people who see this, can't really tell a difference. Like if you wear these to school, if you wear them to work, or wherever you wear your shoes, if you wear these on Monday and then you wear the Chicago's on Tuesday, 99% of the people who saw you thought you had on the same damn shoes, bro. You know, only sneakerheads really point out the differences. And from a distance, even a sneakerhead really can't tell unless they see the sole. So it's really not that much of a difference to justify the price difference. Now, if you are big on OG shoes, if you're big on, you know, the shoes that MJ actually wore, iconic stuff, classic stuff, this may be the way to go. You know, if that price is worth it to you, if you did get them for retail, then that's a whole nother story. Is it worth it to have both? I don't know, man. Me personally, obviously, yeah, because I do, but, you know, I question that all the time. I don't really make the smartest decisions when it comes to buying shoes. That's why I'm a sneakerhead, man. I get reckless sometimes. So y'all let me know your opinions. Follow me on Instagram at Sneakerheadpat. Comment, like, subscribe, shoot me some feedback. Let me know if you want to see more comparison videos. Appreciate y'all rocking with me, and I will see you next video. Peace.